And why I believe they are beautiful, I will tell you in just a moment. So, we work in the field of digital transformation within more than 20 years of experience. We have a big variety of clients in pharma, healthcare, financial services, insurance, real estate, and automotive. So, if you're tired of one branch you work for, you can choose the other. That's the beauty of a vendor like we are. And we offer services from digital strategy consultancy until QA, and deliver from Germany, Poland, Ukraine, and Malaysia. And a frequent type of project is a pattern library. Now, who am I? My name is Marc. I've been with Avenga since 2009. I used to be responsible for the delivery of Berlin. So in my heart, I'm still more of a problem solver than a sales manager. Yeah. So what do we do today? I would like to tell you a brief story with something that may sound familiar to you and your companies. And then based on that, I would like to introduce the concept of a pattern library, first in theory and then put into practice. Because I think it's very important that, you believe that I'm actually trying to tell you something that is working. I have 2 children, and I read one book on children's education, and after I read that, I thought, this guy's mad, he can't have any children. So let me start with a little story. We have Lucy in our story. Lucy is a product manager with the Awesome company. And Awesome sells B2B and B2C to its products, either to clients. So Lucy needs a website explaining the benefits of a product and her shop. So far so good. She goes to an agency, commences a briefing. The company comes up with a beautiful UX and UI strategy. Software developers take care of the coding. And at the end of the day, Lucy's happy, client's happy, and everybody's happy. Now that was in 2013. And in 2014, we have Linus, and our story continues. He's also a product manager with Awesome. He also needs a website for the benefits of his product and the shop. And here we go again. He briefs an agency, and they come up with a beautiful concept and design. The coders develop the software due to state-of-the-art technologies. And at the end of the day, project is a success and everybody's happy again. Now that was 2014, and I think you guess where this is going to go, because now we arrived in 2021. And now we are stuck with 8 individual websites being maintained by different agencies. And this is a common scenario for companies that have a big variety of digital touchpoints. Now I'm being faced with that. Your brand management is coming up with the idea of unifying all appearances, or a brand relaunch, or the Awesome company is being bought by another Awesome company and needs to be rebranded. And then you have 8 different websites, you have different tech stacks, different vendors, different product managers, and at the end of the day, this is going to be very expensive. So I'm not making this up. This is what Otto actually had a few years ago. They had 8 different product recommendation engines on their different digital touchpoints. And another example is HubSpot. They chose to perform an UX UI audit, and these are the amount of buttons that they came up with. So this is quite a landscape that you have to deal with at the end of the day. So now in 2022, I don't see my notes, so I already gave away this punchline. You have inconsistent user interfaces, and you have, in part, outdated user experiences, because some of these websites get old and technology evolves. You have high maintenance costs, and you have a big overhead. So where do you go from here? And what shall we do? And can a pattern library help in that aspect? We believe it can, because a pattern library is a very simple thing. It is a collection of design components that can appear multiple times on the site. So everything is just designed and coded once, and then it can be consumed by every digital touch point that you have or plan to have. So it's a bit like a Baukasten system that you can use. So this is the most beautiful and most important thing about a pattern library. As you design and implement, as you design and code these components once, it gives you control over the UX and the UI design of all touchpoints your company has. Because you choose another vendor for a different project and you just tell them, please use this pattern library. We have done a perfect description of all these elements and how they're supposed to interact with the user. And so this improves and brings a unified brand experience with it, and it reduces your front-end maintenance costs. And it also is a beautiful way to update your CX, your customer experience easily, because as time progresses, these components will eventually be modernized according to newer standards, due to technological evolution or to user interface evolution, not revolution. So I brought a couple of examples with you that I want to show you today. Otto, for example, has created a pattern library. This and the following example is both online available for everybody. So on the left-hand side, you see that it's the general starting page of Otto. And there you see that this pattern library is alive because it starts with a changelog, and the last release has been on August 3rd. So this is something that is living and that is being worked on. And then I chose to show you the interaction patterns because they describe for developers how an element is supposed to act or interact with you when you click on it or swipe or scroll as a user. And the thing on the right hand side is definitely not the most sexiest thing on earth. It's input fields, but it's the thing that is supposed to work, otherwise it's going to be causing the biggest amount of frustration from a user. And this is just ABC. It's not like something that makes your product fancy or your website. And the other example I brought today is Audi, because Audi does something very fascinating. And it instantly, when you open the site, it brings you into the brand world of Audi. And needless to say that this website is being made with components from the Audi pattern library. There are a lot of visuals and a lot of videos on the site. So if you click on the UI introduction, you get this little video. And this video already shows you all the components within a different context. So in this video, they used all these elements, the beautiful elements they have in a specific context in form of a website. So now you have example pages for, I chose here spinners and progress bars, for example, and I chose another example for tables, because tables is a very complex thing to bring all this feature onto a screen and having everything the way it's supposed to be aligned with the limitations of a small or a big display. So these two I find very fascinating and good examples for pattern libraries. Now, if you ask me what's a good starting point for a pattern library, I would say it's as good as any project can serve as a starting point. It shouldn't be a small landing page, but once you think about maybe redesigning a website, that's a good starting point for a pattern library project. You have your regular workflow. It doesn't really represent either an agile or a waterfall model, but I think you guess where I'm trying to hint at. You have your requirements, and if you have an agile project setup, you have your UX design and your software development iterative until you reached the point where you're going to be happy. And if you have smaller projects, you might have a closed UX design phase and then go to software development afterwards. This is not really important. The question is what changes if you do a pattern library project. And it's actually not that much, because all you need to do is you need to take care of a split within the pattern library development and the implementation. So what you do is your UX, UI, and your product owner design and components. that will be written first and be put into this pattern library together with the UX flows. And your implementation team here on the right side is consuming the results of this pattern library. And this is a setup that also works with multiple teams. So you have your pattern library team up there, and you have a variety of teams consuming the results of this pattern library. Now what's next? I think I already answered half the questions on that thing on this slide before. Now what's different? You're creating artifacts within your project that will serve on other projects as a later stage. That means you need to be more careful, and you need your work to be understood by other developers. So you need to invest time into a well-written documentation. I would be lying to you if I say this is cheaper at the beginning, but it will pay out at the end. Because as soon as you start reusing these patterns, your return on investment will kick in, because you're using the same components that you've already programmed before. Other important aspect is that your pattern library needs an owner, because it will evolve over time, and you need someone to be responsible for this pattern library. Treat it as a product, as an internal product. And if you do it right, you have a very, very high standard of user experience and usability within all your digital touchpoints. And I think this is what makes it actually beautiful. You can control everything, every aspect of your brand in the digital world. So, to put this into practice, I want to talk about 3 examples that we have done as Sevenval in the past. The first one is something that we have done for the Liechtensteinische Landesbank. They approached us in 2015 as part of their strategy program. They were looking for a partner to change all their user interfaces on all relevant touchpoints. They had a zoo of applications, as I showed you earlier, and they wanted a website, they wanted an online banking, they wanted all to be looking the same look and feel, and they wanted this pattern to be used also in a mobile context and within apps. The LIB chose to program native apps, and they were also at least they used the patterns at least as a guideline, if not the patterns themselves. So LIB bought another bank in Austria a couple of years later, and they applied these same patterns to the web presence of this bank. The next example I would like to show you is Postbank. I've told you about the history of the companies before Avenga, and with Sevenval we've been a partner for Postbank since 2005, I believe. We used to be a mobile specialist back in the days when mobile displays were very small, couldn't really do much, and where you had a stable website that is just being deployed every 3 months as a source in order to come up with a mobile website. So, and as this partnership continued, and as they wanted to relaunch their online banking, they approached us for UX and UI services and for pattern development. And so this is what we did. At this point in time, I'm sure one of you or two are actually clients of the Postbank. A pattern library cannot heal insufficiencies that you have in ancient backends. This is something I need to be honest about. And these patterns are also, well, they are used within the online banking, and they're also used within ATM machines and stuff like, not ATM machines, but Kontoauszugsdrucker and other displays. So, and the third one I would like to show you is Swiss Life. I think this is by far the most complex one, because Swiss Life wanted had the very ambitious project of having a customer portal that they wanted to design and develop. But they have 5 different distributors, 5 different sales companies that they own. It is Swiss Life Select, Horbach, Tekis, and Proventus, and the Swiss Compare. And what they wanted pretty much is they wanted a white label solution in order to have low maintenance costs, and they also wanted a solution where each brand would see itself in it, and they wanted the same usability and the same user flows in all this, in all these customer portals. So, and this is what we did for them. We are working currently on another pattern library for Swiss Life. Now you might ask why, because we've done already one and it should be the one and only pattern library. Now this is for clients where things are being designed and treated in a different way, and the one we're building now is a much more, let's say, compact, for much more compact views for professional users who prefer to have more stuff on a site rather than clicking around. And the pattern library that we built now is supposed to be the standard, the reference for each internal application for Swiss Life that anybody is going to build, and I'm very proud of this fact. So, to make a long story short, I think I talked so fast that I'm way before my time. To sum up, a pattern library ensures a unified brand experience and user interfaces across all touch points of your digital landscape if you do it right. You make users feel at home within your brand, and they're designed to evolve and grow continuously, as I stated, and to always meet the demands of a state-of-the-art user interface. You can just exchange components over time. It's not much of a problem. They will give you control over your brand's digital appearance, and they will keep the cost of maintenance low, at least for your application's front ends. The back ends are another story I would like to tell you some other time. I think that's it.